Hi, I'm Taylor Eaton. I'm a 5-1 splenic projector and a human design and money mindset expert. Over the last several years, I've built a thriving multiple six-figure business, all based around human design. I've worked with hundreds of people to help them become human design readers. I've worked with thousands of people to use human design to better various areas of their life and business through my human design centered programs. And I've given over 300 private human design readings in the last couple of years alone. All of this started by offering human design readings. When I first started out, I remember wanting to offer readings after going through a human design reader training program. But I felt like the program, while it gave me a good foundational knowledge of the actual human design system and even a little bit of insight into how to read someone's chart, it taught me nothing about how to actually get my readings out there and start getting paid for them. It didn't teach me any part of the business aspect of giving human design readings. So that's what I want to do here today. In this video, I want to give you a super simple strategy that you can follow to start putting your human design readings out there, start getting paid for them, and doing it in a way that not only increases your confidence in your ability to sell the readings, but also sets you up to create a fully booked out human design reading practice in the future. So whether you want to make a full-time income giving human design readings, or you just want to have a little bit of supplemental income coming in through your human design readings, this is a strategy you can follow to just help you get those readings out there and start getting paid for them. Before we dive in, I just want to say that this is just one out of an infinite number of strategies you could follow to start offering human design readings. I am a big believer in finding whatever strategy works for you as an individual in your business. As you probably know, if you're interested in human design, you know that we are all so uniquely different, and that means that in business there isn't a one-size-fits-all strategy. So this is partially why I love using human design in business to create business strategies and structures and design your business in a way that is harmonious with your unique gifts per your human design chart. And I actually have a whole program on that. I'll put the link for it below. It's called the Human Design for Business program. If you want to really dive deep into bringing human design into the structure of your business as a human design reader or just in any other niche, go check that out. Such a powerful program. The link is in the video description. But regardless of whether that's for you or not, for the sake of this video and this strategy, listen to what I have to say, listen to the whole strategy, take it in, and then take what works for you and leave what doesn't. Use the strategy that I'm going to give you as a template or as inspiration or a jumping off point, or maybe it's something that you'll be able to implement step by step exactly how I lay it out, and it'll work great for you. It doesn't matter if you follow this to a T. I just want to give you what has worked for me and my clients, and hopefully some, if not all of it, can work for you. What we're not covering in this video today is how to actually build an audience to continually market to and to sell your offers and readings to. That is a conversation for a totally different video, a different time. Today, we are just talking about the strategy of how you actually start offering readings and get paid for them. So if you already have an established business and you're just now adding in human design readings as an additional service or new offer, or incorporating it in an existing offer that you already have to a very warm audience who is more on the spirituality side of things or already has some interest in human design, the strategy I'm going to give you here is probably going to be very easy for you to just plug and play, and it'll just be super simple for you to take off and run with it. However, if you are brand new to business and you don't have any sort of audience, any sort of community to market to, then you might find that this strategy you hit a wall with it, and you might find that you're not getting as much traction with it as you would like. So if that's the case, then I'd say still watch this video, take in this strategy, but then go focus on building an audience or finding a community, whether it's one you build or someone else's that you can leverage, that you can sell your readings to. And then implement the strategy. Okay, so let's dive into the strategy now. I'm so excited to get to share this with you. This is the strategy that I used when I first started offering readings in my business, and it allowed me to create a completely booked out human design reading practice for over 2 years. This is the same strategy that I've offered to many of my clients, and we've adapted to their unique businesses and their unique reading styles to create really effortless sales for their readings. So I'm just so excited to get to dive into this with you. Step number 1 is to do practice readings. If you haven't had a chance to do any practice human design readings up until this point, start there. So if you had a human design reader training program, but there wasn't the opportunity to give readings to other people, then you definitely want to get some experience under your belt before you start offering paid readings. This is mostly to build up your confidence, but it's also so that you can work out any kinks of the logistics of preparing for a reading or questions that come up during a reading and how you respond to them before you start charging for readings, because that just adds a whole nother layer of pressure that you don't want when you're first starting out. So if you haven't already, do some practice readings. These are usually readings that I recommend offering for free to friends or family or people close to you. You could, if you have an audience already, offer them to your audience. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this. You can be, and I always encourage you to be transparent with your audience when you do start charging for your readings. At that point, you can say things like, hey, this is a brand new service that I'm offering. This is a new skill that I'm bringing to the table. But I personally would not recommend, just based off of my experience, seeing many clients go through this process, I would not recommend offering free readings to your audience that you're also then going to be selling the readings to. The main reason I say this is just because it really takes away from some of your authority when you are offering a brand new thing for free and then you turn around and start charging for it. A lot of people will see it as less valuable. They will see you as less of an expert at it. And it's not that we're trying to portray a false level of proficiency with something that we don't have. It's more just being aware of how this now lessens the value of what you're offering to your audience. So as always, do what works for you. If you know it makes a lot of sense for you and your audience to offer free human design readings for you to practice with, go for it. I personally just would not recommend it. Now, some people haven't done any practice readings, but they're like, I'm ready, put me in, I'm ready to just dive in there and start giving paid readings. That's totally fine. You can do that too. But I'd say that about 90% of the people that I've helped to become human design readers all felt a lot of resistance to offering paid readings. They had very little confidence in their reading skills when they came to me. And I think this is just kind of one of those things where you got to get your feet wet. You have to actually get in there and get some experience with it to identify what you need to strengthen in yourself as a reader before you start charging for the service. So like I said, doing a few practice readings, maybe 3 to 5 practice readings, really not much more than that, because I don't want you to get stuck in just giving free readings and never charging for them. But giving a few practice readings to people that you feel comfortable giving those readings to can really go a long way to strengthening your confidence and your proficiency as a reader before you get to the point where you start charging for your services. I will recommend though that if you feel comfortable during your practice readings, ask the people that you do those practice readings for to give you some honest feedback after the reading is done. Also, feel free to ask them for some sort of review or testimonial. We're going to talk more about this in step 2, but this is a really key thing that can make selling your future readings so much easier. And again, I cannot stress enough how much I recommend limiting your practice readings to 5, maybe 10 at the most. That seems excessive to me, honestly, because that is a surefire way to get stuck in this space of not believing that you can get compensated for what you're doing, to believe that you're not good enough yet. It's also a surefire way to burn out. I've had a ton of clients who went against what I advised them to do and did like 20 free practice readings and then burned out hard. And a lot of that was because they weren't getting compensated for their time and their energy. So really, don't get stuck in the trap of giving free readings if you want to run a business. If you just want to give free readings because you love doing it and this is a fun hobby for you, this is probably as far as you need to watch in this video. However, if you want to get compensated and build a business around human design readings, keep your practice free readings to a minimum. Ultimately, I know it can feel terrifying to start charging for your human design readings, but I'm gonna help you with that with our next step. Step number 2 is to offer your first paid human design readings at a discounted price. This is the step where you actually start to get paid for your readings, which is so exciting. It is such a good feeling when you book your first paid human design reading. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually getting compensated for this thing that I'm so excited and passionate about. But getting to that point can feel a little terrifying. So this part of the strategy is where we ease you into getting comfortable with charging for readings and also build your confidence in your ability to sell readings, create demand in your audience for your readings, and also set you up to easily sell out future readings. This is really where the magic is in the strategy, in my opinion. What you're going to do at this point in the strategy is you are going to offer a limited amount of discounted human design readings to your audience. Again, this is the point in this video where if you do not have an established audience to start selling to, you may hit a wall. So if that is you, feel free to watch the rest of this video, but then think about how you can create an audience, whether you want to start growing on social media or locally, or if you want to leverage someone else's audience, like other online communities where you are allowed to promote your services. And then of course, once you have that piece of the puzzle figured out and underway, you can start implementing this part of the strategy. Now, in order to offer discount readings, here's what you need to do. First, you want to identify what the full price of your readings will be. This isn't the price that you have to charge forever. This is just the full price that your readings are going to be for the next probably 3, 6, 12 months, somewhere in that range. Once you have that full price locked in, now I want you to decide how much of a discount you want to give for a limited number of people. I recommend giving a discount of somewhere between 25 to 50% off of your full price. Next, decide how many discounted readings you want to offer. I recommend offering between 5 to 10 discounted readings. The reason for this is if you do more than 10, any sort of urgency or incentive for people to enroll right now starts to lessen because there's so many for people to purchase. If you offer less than this, so say 3 discounted readings, then the next piece of what we're going to talk about here isn't going to be as impactful. Lastly, and this part is key, announce this batch of discounted human design readings to your audience, but make it clear that the discount is going to be in exchange for a review or testimonial from the people that you do these discounted readings for. This is important because we want everyone to know upfront that when they purchase one of these readings, yes, they are getting a sweet deal on a new service from you, but they are also agreeing to write an honest review or testimonial for you that you can use as social proof on your sales page and on social media in order to help you sell future readings. This part where we ask for a review is what really trips a lot of people up. I find sometimes even more so than actually charging for the readings, because so many people are afraid that it's putting people out. But really, it's so easy for people to write a quick 1 to 2 sentence little positive review of your reading, say what they liked about it or what they took away from it or why they'd recommend it. And it's going to do wonders for helping you to book out your future readings. Part of this is because of social proof. This is such a key piece when we get into the marketing aspect of business, where it's so important to be able to show potential buyers that what you offer is valuable and other people think so too. It is publicly validated. That is psychologically such a key part of selling your readings ongoingly. And then the other reason this is so important is for your own confidence levels. I cannot tell you how valuable it is to have reviews from people who you've done readings for that are gushing about why they loved the reading with you. This is something even for me as an experienced human design reader, there are still moments where you will have self-doubt and imposter syndrome, and it is so helpful to get to go back to the reviews that you have listed on your sales page and read them for yourself, for your own benefit, for your own confidence, to say, yeah, I am good at what I do. Yes, people do take things away from my readings. And it helps you have that confidence and that staying power to continue to show up and sell your readings and do what you want to do with your readings. Now, a side note here, once you get people purchasing these discounted readings and you do the readings for them, some people will forget to write a review for you. It just happens. People forget. So if that's the case and you've done some of these discounted readings and you're not getting the reviews in exchange, please follow up with people. Follow up gently, professionally, politely, but follow up, give them a quick and sweet email or a very simple nudge on social media and just say, hey, I would still love to get that review from you. Are you able to get that to me within the next week or so? Or even give them a couple questions to answer that can help them just have an idea of what to write, because sometimes it's really easy to just be like, what do I even say? I liked it. What do I say about it? So just giving them simple questions to answer, like, hey, could you just tell me what you enjoyed the most about the reading, or what were the biggest takeaways you took, or why would you recommend this reading to someone, or who would you recommend these sorts of readings to? Asking 1 or 2 of those sorts of questions can help people have a kind of jumping off point so that they can more easily write a really quick review for you that is going to be so valuable for you and so easy for them to do just in the moment. To give you an example of what this strategy looks like in action, I'm probably going to put up on the screen right now a screenshot of the very first post I put up in my Facebook group years ago when I first started offering human design readings that implements the strategy. Just so you can see, you can use this post as a general template for you to create your own post, of course, use your own wording, use whatever pricing feels right to you, and also just ignore any of the old branding on here. Some of this was from before my business was completely rebranded as the human design business that it is now. But this is the post that I put up to announce my first batch of human design readings at this discounted price point. So what I did here, and what you can see reflected in this post, is that I decided that my full price for readings starting out would be $197 US per human design reading. This was for an hour-long reading where I was live on Zoom with someone and I was reading their chart and answering their questions and then sending them the link to download the recording from Zoom after the call was done. So they got the hour-long reading with me as well as lifetime access to the recording of their call with me. So this started at $197 US, and then I decided that for this strategy, I was going to offer 10 discounted readings, and the discounted price point was going to be $97, so over 50% off. Like I said, I announced this to my audience in a Facebook post. At the time, my business was based largely off of Facebook. That was where I was really growing my audience to start. Most of my audience was in my Facebook group at the time. That's no longer the case, but that's where I was marketing to. Nowadays, if I offered something like this or a new service and used this strategy to launch it, I would probably announce this to my email list and then drip it out to all of my other social media platforms where I have an audience. Now, the only thing I didn't do in this post, which I'm asking you to do with this strategy, is I did not say up front that these discounted readings were in exchange for a review or testimonial. I did ask the people who purchased these discounted readings for a review once we were on the call. When we were wrapping up, I said, I'd really appreciate it if you could write me a review. It would help me have more of that social proof that I can use for promoting these readings in the future. Most people were happy to write me that review, but I felt so awkward asking for it on the call, like I was springing it on them. It also just meant that I wasn't guaranteed that these people were actually going to write that review. So not everyone did, because that wasn't part of the agreement beforehand. It wasn't transparent up front. It was something I was just honestly at that time in my business and in my entrepreneurial journey, I was too afraid to ask for upfront. But I promise you that this is not a make or break thing for most people purchasing a reading, especially when they're getting a really generous discount. They are not going to balk at having to write a 1 to 2 sentence review of what they liked about your reading for you. So all of that being said, please do not hesitate to ask for the review upfront, to make it known in your announcement. Say, hey, I have X amount of discounted human design readings. They're at this price point. Once these are sold out, it's going up to this price point. In exchange for these discount readings, if you grab one of them, I just ask that you write me a nice review of what you liked about it after we're done with the reading. So just saying that sort of thing up front just goes a long way to actually ensuring that you're going to get more of those reviews, which is such a key part of this strategy, and also helps you feel less awkward in having to follow up for them because it was something that was agreed upon, that was understood when the person purchased. I will also say that I have had clients in the same position where they did not ask for the review up front and saw way less reviews coming in after their readings were done. I have had clients who I advised to ask for the testimonials up front, and they received so many more. They were so much more in depth as well, because again, people are just mentally prepared. They're kind of almost mentally taking notes during the reading of the things they loved about it so that they could easily write a review right after. This post that I just shared with you and this strategy is how I sold out my first batch of human design readings in 24 hours. Well, 48 hours, because we're going to count the day before where I had put the same post more or less up into a membership group that I was running. So it was people who were already paying clients of mine, and offered them the opportunity to grab some of these readings first, which many of them did. So after that, and then posting what you saw, the screenshot, in my main Facebook group, that was a free Facebook group, that was how I sold out my first batch of human design readings in, it's called 48 hours. And then from there, my readings were always fully booked out for the next 2 years, and people would book months in advance to get on my calendar. And then after about 2 years of doing human design readings regularly, I stopped to give birth to my daughter, and now most of my income comes passively through human design centric programs and online self-paced courses. Why this part of the strategy worked so well was because, first of all, people were so excited to get such a huge discount off of the service that they sold out quickly. And then second of all, the people who did not snag one of these discounted readings in time before they sold out were so excited about it and saw the demand that others had for it that they wanted to buy one even though they were buying at full price. And then the people who didn't grab a discount reading or immediately buy at full price, they then saw the social proof, those testimonials I was receiving from the people who had had the discounted readings that I was sharing on my sales page and in my Facebook group and on social media. And they were so excited about those results and those reviews that then they had no problem going and just booking at the full price. And this was how I created a fully booked out human design reading practice. Now, I want to be clear here. I had a very warm audience to sell these human design readings to, because for about a year or two before I started offering human design readings, I had already established myself as a mindset and business coach. So I already had an audience, and a lot of them also were spiritual entrepreneurs. So I already had an audience that was very receptive to the idea of human design readings, that already kind of knew what they were, that were excited for them, and that were happy to purchase one from me. So this is just to reiterate the point that my results will not necessarily be your results. You may see much better results than I saw and sell out immediately at a higher price point, or it may take you several days or weeks to sell out your discounted readings. It all depends on where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, what kind of audience you already have in place, and just your comfortability with selling. In terms of pricing, you might feel comfortable selling your readings at the same rates I did, or you may want to charge more, you may want to charge less. It just depends, again, how long you've been in business, how much confidence you have in your readings and your ability to sell at certain price points. So there's no right or wrong answer here with the price. It's really just about what you can get behind and what feels right to you. When in doubt, use your human design authority to tune into the right pricing for you for right now. And just as a side note, if you want more tips around pricing your readings, putting them out in the world, getting paid for them, structuring them, creating a specific niche or reading style for your readings, that is all stuff that I cover in my Ultimate Human Design Reader Resource Program. This is an incredibly robust program. It not only gives you all of the human design knowledge you need to be a reader, but it also gives you all of my best tips, tricks, and guides for putting your readings out into the world and building a human design reading business. The link for the Ultimate Human Design Reader Resource is in the description beneath this video. Go check it out. Before we move on to step 3, I just want to say that I love what we've just covered here in step 2 so much. This is my favorite part of this video because it is so simple. It doesn't require any fancy funnels or any icky sales tactics, but it also creates demand in your product, in your offer of your readings. It also gives you confidence in your ability to sell and to get compensated for your work, and sets you up for success by bringing in reviews that you can use to more easily sell your future readings. Let's be honest, people love a good discount. And I will also say that offering a set number of discounted readings is so valuable, not just in order to create some urgency with your audience and really motivate people to purchase, but also to keep you accountable in a public way so that you don't get stuck in the trap of always offering readings at this discounted price point, which I've seen people do before. So when you say, I'm only selling 5 of these at a discounted price point, and people are purchasing, and you've booked out 5 and you have all these reviews from people, it's going to be very clear to your audience when you have completed those readings. So in a way, you are holding yourself accountable from getting stuck in that place of playing small and only charging half price of what you want to be charging for your readings. And that leads us to our next step, which is step number 3, offer readings at full price. So once you've completed your discounted readings and those clients who receive those discounted readings have written reviews for you, make sure you put those reviews up on your sales page for your human design readings if you have one. If not, make sure you hold on to them and have them in an easy to access place that you can share on social media. And then from there, start opening up readings at full price. I know this step sounds very simple and like, yeah, duh, Taylor, of course I'm going to be offering the full readings. That's what you said in the last step. We were only doing X amount of discounted readings, but I cannot stress enough how easy it is to get stuck charging less than what you actually want to charge. And this really comes down to more of a mindset thing, but in business, it's incredibly easy to fall into the trap of selling something at a certain price, like say your discounted rate that you sold those first few readings at, and create this story in your head around how you can't charge anymore, or people aren't going to want to pay you more, especially if they saw you offer it at a discounted price. So this is where it's really important that you actually stretch yourself and push yourself to start offering readings at that full price that you announced originally. Use the reviews from those discounted readings to help you sell these full price readings and continually offer and promote your readings. And of course, when you do book readings at your full price, don't be afraid to ask those people to also write reviews or testimonials after their reading is complete. It's not guaranteed that they will do this because that isn't part of the agreement when they're purchasing, but a lot of people are really happy to do this, especially if you have any sort of email follow-up with them. Like let's say you send a recording link to them for them to download the replay of their call. That is a great time to then ask people, say, hey, here's the link to download your recording of our call. I would love if you would be able to just take a couple minutes to just tell me what you loved about this and write a quick review so that I can share that with other people who are considering purchasing a reading from me. Not everyone will do this, but just asking them, saying how appreciative you would be if they did it, opens up the door for people to help you in your business? I say this just because it is so easy for us not to ask, and people just don't even think about writing a review most of the time. So make sure you're asking for that review. Make sure you're giving people the opportunity to support you and to share what they loved about the readings with you and with potential future clients of yours. Also, bonus points if you create some sort of simple form that people can easily fill out in order to create a review for you. Step number 4 is to raise your rates over time. I personally do not recommend raising your rates for your human design readings rapidly. I'd say maybe every 6 to 12 months you can evaluate and see if you want to raise your rates. The only reason I say this is just because it's really hard to get a gauge on what price point is working and what price point isn't if you are constantly shifting it. And you especially don't want to be raising the rate too quickly and then realizing you're not really ready to sell at that rate, or your audience isn't ready to purchase at that rate, and then you bring it back down. That's really hard to do. It's always easier to move up in pricing than it is to move down in pricing for the most part. So make sure that you are being intentional with how often you increase your pricing and how much you're increasing it by. The biggest thing is that you want to be able to get behind the price point and feel like you're confident in your ability to sell at that price point. That's the biggest thing. You can always kind of nurture your audience more to get them ready to buy at that price point, to help them see the value of buying at a certain price point, but you need to be able to see that value and believe in it and feel like you can communicate that before you raise your rates. And I will say that if you are finding yourself consistently booked out in your human design reading business, people are booking out months in advance on your calendar, then I would definitely recommend raising your rates at that point. For me, I went from the full price of my readings was originally $197 US to increasing it to, I believe, $250 per reading. And then from there, down the road, I increased it to $300 a reading. I want to say that I increased my rates about every year or so. I know I definitely increased them once I saw that people for months on end were booking 2 to 3 months out on my calendar just to get a reading with me. So the fact that I was always so in demand and so far booked out, that was a really good indicator to me that it was time to raise my rates. That's always kind of been the leading indicator for me as to when I need to raise my rates up. In some cases, when I did raise my rates, I would get less people booking with me at first. Ultimately, I was always staying booked out at least a few weeks, if not months in advance. And then I was making more money by doing the same amount of work or sometimes less. Now, just to give you an idea of what I mean when I say I was fully booked out, because I think that's easy to say and make it sound really sexy. And then if I was only booking 1 call a week, that doesn't really mean much, you know? So just so you have an idea of how frequently I was booking readings, when I first started out and I was charging $197 per call, I was booking about 6 readings a week, 24 readings a month. From there, once I started seeing that I was consistently booked out for months in advance, I raised my rates to $250. Then I started dropping down the amount of readings I was taking on because I started building other human design programs out and was running group programs and things like that. So that was when I dropped down to, I believe, 4 calls per week, and I was still consistently booked out at that rate. And then from there, I raised my rates. Now I still am around that $300 range per reading, but I don't really offer a lot of one-off readings. Now I sign mostly private clients that are recurring and at a higher package price point. And so it's a little hard to break down the per reading price, but that's about where I am right now. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I am a projector and I am a mom. And so I was never trying to book out 40 hours of calls a week. That's not at all my working style. Offering human design readings has never been the sole source of income in my business, but it was a very big part of it for a while. And it also created the foundation of my entire human design centric business. Starting out, once I started offering readings, again, to my very warm audience, to my already established business, I was making at least $4,000 a month from just the reading portion of my business. And really, that's more than I used to make in a month in my full-time job doing way less work. So it was definitely worth it. And it's been a really lucrative part of my business and a really impactful part where I've gotten to help a lot of people. Some of my clients do make even more money than that every month with their human design readings, especially my generator and MG clients who can do tons of readings week in and week out. They make 5 figures just off of their readings every month. I also have some clients that only offer a couple readings a month and make a few $100, maybe $1,000 or so. And so whether you want to offer readings and make a full-time income or just a supplemental income or add another income stream to your business, you can absolutely do that with the strategy that we've gone over here. There is not a limit to how much you can charge for a reading and how much people will pay. I have seen human design readers who charge over $500 for a reading. All that really matters is just what feels aligned to you and what you feel confident selling at. Depending on who you're working with and what kind of niche you might be doing readings in, it may make sense to keep your pricing lower or higher. Again, it all just depends on you and your business model. and who you're working with. For example, if you are someone like me who works in the niche of doing human design for high-earning entrepreneurs or for businesses, those are people that it's going to be a little bit easier to sell at a higher price point because you are helping them see more of a direct ROI in terms of money for your human design readings. If you are someone, on the other hand, who maybe wants to do human design readings for parents to help them be more aware with their children or relate to their children better, it doesn't mean that you can't sell those readings at a high price point. It just might be a little bit more challenging taking into consideration the clientele and what their goals are. So that's it. That's the strategy. Super simple. I know I talked quite a bit about each of these points. I have so much more I could share with you about this sort of stuff, but for now, I feel like that's a really good place to leave this video. I think that if you just take these basic steps and follow this sort of strategy, you can set yourself up to easily sell out your offers, not just immediately for your human design readings, but ongoingly. And if you liked this video and found it helpful in any way, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and also just say hi in the comments because I want to get to connect with you. And I will mention this one last time, if you are looking for a program that will give you in-depth knowledge of the human design system, tips on how to read charts and create your own reading style, and also give you tools so that you can start getting paid for your readings, be sure to check out the Ultimate Human Design Reader resource. I'm so in love with this program I've created. It's helped hundreds of people become human design readers, and it's so much more affordable than most of the other reading programs out there. So I cannot wait to get to share that with you. Link in the description. Oh, and there's also a free checklist that you can use if you're like, I already have all the human design knowledge I need and I don't want to go way in depth on stuff. That's cool. I've got you covered with a free checklist if you want something just to help you get started with structuring your readings and preparing for readings. There's a link for that as well in the video description. So go check that out, and I will talk to you in my next video.